guess we already had you, David. Yeah, you, Clarissa. I don't know if, no, Jeff was born later when we moved to Mesa.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you three were there in Daly Estates. I used to like to go up to Fry Mesa. I don't know if you know that flat, big mesa down below the high part of the mountain. And I could drive up to it from Thatcher. And they had the Thatcher City water there in Fry Mesa Reservoir. It was crystal clear, fresh water that would come out of Fry Creek right off the top of the mountain. And a little waterfall, and it'd flow right into that reservoir. And I loved fishing there because there were a lot of trout, and you could see clear to the bottom of the reservoir. It was crystal clear. And you could see the fish down there 20, 30 feet below the surface. And especially when you would catch one, you could see it fighting you, and you could kind of bring it up. And I just loved fishing there. Mm-hmm. And one day I went by myself. I usually went with a friend, my next door neighbor, Brent Emery. But I just decided to go myself. Brent had to work or something, and I had the day off. I drove up there, and it's quite a drive getting up there, but there was nobody there. I was the only person in the whole place. And I decided I'm going to fish below the waterfall that came down off the mountain. And it's clear up around the reservoir. You walk down a little trail, and I thought, I'm going to fish here. And I got all ready for my first cast. And I decided I'm going to cast it as far as I can, clear out in the middle of the reservoir, and then watch what happens. And I reared back and gave it a mighty flip, and I reached back too far. One of those treble hooks, Panther Martin again, caught me right on my left shoulder blade. And it went all the way in. And about pulled my arm off or my shoulder off when that hit, because I swung that with all my strength. And I couldn't reach it with my right hand, and I couldn't reach it with my left. But I could pull it with the line, and I could tell it was buried in there. And I thought, what am I going to do? And my first cast, and I've done this, and I had no idea what to do. So I said a little prayer. Heavenly Father, I'm in trouble here. How in the world am I going to get that out of there? I guess I'm going to have to drive clear down the mountain to the doctor and let a doctor cut it open and dig it out. Just that time, I didn't even hear a car or anything come up. Here came a little old fisherman. He was an old guy, and he had a little beard, and he had just like he was right out of Saturday Evening Post. It was one of those pictures that, who's the famous artist? First,
Norman Rockwell.
Norman Rockwell. It was a Rockwell painting. This guy dressed all the standard things, and he had on a little straw hat with a brim around it, all kinds of hooks hooked around his hat, and he was carrying a fishing pole, and he was whistling as he walked down the trail where I was. I thought, where in the world did he come from? I didn't hear a truck driving up or anything. But he walked right up to me and he said, "Friend, you having any luck?" And I said, "Yeah, I caught a real big one." Me. And he said, "Oh, I see you did." And I said, "Can you help me?" I said, "I can't even reach it. I don't know what to do." He said, "Sure, I'll help you. I've done that a lot of times." And he said, "Just look out on the pretty reservoir and give me a minute to work on it." And I thought, oh boy, this is gonna hurt. He's gonna have to dig that out with a pocket knife or something. It took like 5 seconds. He pulled it out and he said, "Here's your lure." I said, "How did you do that?" He said, "You just have to know what you're doing." And I thanked him and he left. He didn't stay to fish. And he started up that trail and I thought, I'm not going to stay now. This is too good a story. I'm going to have to go tell Mom. And so I followed him up, but he got out of sight over the rim. And I thought, well, I'll see him getting in his car or his truck. There was no car or truck anywhere around that reservoir. He just vanished. I think it was one of the 3 Nephites.
That's quite that story, Dad.
And,
yeah, I don't think I've heard that one.
I was sure glad he came. It was like he had been prepared by a makeup crew on a Hollywood set. He was the perfect image of a little old grandpa fisherman with all the trimmings, you know. Mom had a similar experience on Mount Graham. She and some girls got lost walking from Columbine to Riggs Lake. It was 5 miles. And one of the girls said, "I know a shortcut." So they took the shortcut and they got totally lost. They had no idea where they were. And a cowboy rode up on a horse. How many times have you seen a cowboy on a horse on top of Mount Graham? He rode up and he said, "Girls, what in the world are you doing here?" And they said, we're hiking, taking a shortcut to Riggs Lake. And he said, "It's a strange shortcut. You're headed the wrong way." And he said, "I'll lead you to Riggs Lake. You just follow me, follow my horse." So he went off in a different direction than they were headed, and pretty soon there they were at Riggs Lake. He said, "Now girls, next time follow the road. There's a road that goes to Riggs Lake." He rode off over the hills, and that was the last they saw. I mean, Mom's convinced he was one of the 3 Nephites.
How about that?
In fact, one of the girls asked him what he was doing up there, and he said, "Oh, I'm for stray cattle." How often do you see stray cattle on Mount Graham? You never do.
Up by Riggs Lake, no less.
Yeah.